Hi, you're with Mark and Diane, Real Estate News and Views. And Mark, April numbers are in.
Yeah, you can tell by Dan's voice that they're positive, and it's good that they're positive because I also want to go back to show the viewers, Diane, what last spring looked like, right?
Yes.
Because that's critical because we were really lining up for another, large decrease in transactions in April compared to last April, and we didn't see it. So, has this been the catalyst of the spring markets on? I'm not going to say on fire because it's not on fire, folks, but it's a positive start, is what I'll say, right? If we can hold these gains for the second quarter, we could be onto something. But that's wishful thinking. Um, you know, it's a bit of optimism in the air, but I still think we have a long way to go before we start seeing, month over month over month over month positive transactions because we're not seeing it. We're not seeing demand go to new levels in any way. We're seeing a little blip, I believe, and I hope it continues. But I just don't want to give that optimism speech out there saying, "Oh, God, get ready, it's going to take off." Where it's already happened to me this week with an agent where he said the market's on fire. No, it's not.
No, I know.
It's not on fire. So
I know.
take it for what it is. Celebrate the win. Great. We're still seeing, prices come down. We're still seeing some okay deals. We're seeing, some people coming back. And I think when we go through the numbers by the ranges, I think that will speak to the story where we've seen the increases.
Yes. And Korea, the Canadian Real Estate Association, put out a big thing about how the market did pick up a bit overall, but prices were down 5%. So, and the sales were up marginally, like a very small amount.
And
I
that's
mean,
a,
still positive, Mark, compared to,
it is, but Korea is also doing it from a national level, right?
yes.
So there are some performing markets across our country that have been relatively strong. We're not one of them.
No, and I also sent you that link about the Toronto numbers, and they said the same thing. There's been a 4 or 5% increase in sales, but price decrease, and that's relative to the sales last year, which were the lowest in 25 years.
Yeah. So April turned out some okay numbers. So if you love this content, which I hope you do, definitely subscribe to the channel for more information on very simple real estate market.
Yep,
So
and I'll share the spreadsheet.
yeah, make sure we just go back because I want to show that. I think that's important information.
Yeah. So, well, I have the 10-year too.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the last year. Remember when we had them all last year, what the market was in trend, how because we saw a double-digit decrease. We don't need to do it now, but
Yeah.
we see it. Let's go through these and then let's take a little glance back at last year.
Okay. So 170 sales last year, 179 this year, 5% increase. So marginal.
Yep.
Our actives, 863 last year, 873 this year, so we're up 1%.
Okay.
The average price last year was 724, and now we're at 661. And the year-to-date sales are down 18%. So we were at 655 at this point last year. And look at this. They were 15% down last year at 655.
Right.
And
Right.
now we're at 535 and we're 18% down over last year, which means in 2 years we're down 33.
Correct. So that those are big numbers, right? Those are some big numbers that, why I like about data is data doesn't lie. These numbers are right from Toronto Real Estate Board. Me and Diane break them down into the price ranges, and that's how we get these numbers. But me and Diane just didn't add up all the numbers one day and said, here they are. This is
No.
actual information, folks. And I really believe that more people should be very looking at the numbers and what's going on in the market. It's always easy to say, oh, the market's not good. Oh, the market's really busy. These will tell you what the market's doing, right? And
Yes. And you know another thing, I'm going to stop sharing this for 1 second. Another thing that you find is say for me, you know how in the last couple of weeks I sold three. So now does that mean the whole market picked up? They were also in lower price ranges.
Yeah, Mark, you just picked up.
That's what I'm saying. Depending on the agent, if you have an agent that has two or three listings in the low price range and they go bam, 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 and then you interview them to sell your house, they get, oh yeah, the market's on fire. My houses are selling like crazy.
Right.
But the overall market is not.
It's not. And this is the information that if you're sitting down at a listing appointment, that you pull out these charts, these spreadsheets of information, because they're very factual. And I can tell you right now, 99% of the agents are not doing that.
No, I know some agents that watch us so they can keep up to date with the numbers.
Right. Thanks for watching. But
Yeah.
this is the information that because people are making big decisions and they're big financial decisions on buying and selling, right?
Yeah.
But as we progress this, I have a couple stories I kind of want to make sure we cover off because we'll wait till the numbers are done with that. But yeah, I think there's some good stories out there that happened to me this week that I wouldn't mind sharing with the viewers. I think it's some good important information.
Okay, I'll remind you. Okay, so we'll go now to the price ranges. Oh, days on market. Sorry, I hit a button there. Are at 39.
Okay, okay,
So we increased a touch
okay.
from last month.
Yeah.
So here we go with the breakdown. So 5 to 6. Now, what I did this time is I left last month's in there too.
Yeah, I like that.
So 27 sales, 5 to 6 in April,
Okay,
67 actives.
okay.
Last year we had 15 sales, and now we're up 27, which is a 44% increase. Last month we only had 17 sales in that range, Mark, and now we're up to 27 in that range.
And April will typically bring, as we progress through a spring market, will typically be a busier month than March, right?
Yes.
But the number that I'm really focused on is this 44% increase in transactions over last March. This number right here has been very consistent for several months. Fluctuates between 40 and 55% of transactions that were increasing over the lower range. We are seeing decent activity. Okay. I want to
Yeah.
take it decent activity and not going, there's massive demand. There's some demand, but that demand is not driving prices up.
No, no, the prices are not going up. If anything, they're still ticking down.
Still ticking down. So when we look at these numbers for that 5 to 6 range, we look at, 40% of the inventory selling, 60% is not selling. Again, pretty, it's great that 40% selling, but what about the other 60%? It isn't
Well,
selling.
and as you say that, Mark, that's our best percentage of selling is in that range.
Been that way for several months. It has
Yeah,
been. And I do anticipate to keep ticking up. We're seeing some, you know, price discovery maybe in a sense where we're going, people have, tried for several months, no nothing, and then they finally price it right and it sells. Right? We're
yeah,
seeing some sellers going, you know what? I'm going to price my property so I'm the next sold in that 5 to 6 range. You say in a
yeah.
town, whatever
And
it's
you
going
know what? I had a couple investment properties for sale, like duplexes and stuff, and there was a lot more action than I thought.
to. Yeah, you're right. Right.
I think there's some investors tipping their toe back in,
Again,
as long as the price is right.
maybe that could just be you're busy in that category because you've had some listings like that. I'm seeing the other side. Again, I don't have clients looking or have listings like that, but I think there's a big, still dark clouds over with the LTB issues. Property's not cash flowing. Again, cash flowing 20% used to always be the rule of thumb. That new number is 35 to 40%. You have to put that down to cash. You're not going to cash flow. You're
Well,
just
the thing is, some of them now you are because they're selling in the low sixes.
depending, depending. But I don't want to get into that too much because I don't have
No.
a calculator and all that, and I don't want to say something that they are because until
Oh, that's a whole new video because you got to work out the money
yeah,
for people.
right. So, but you know what? Like, are we seeing that? I don't know. I mean, I still think that the rates are still, the fixed rates are still teetering with a lot of bond activity in the bond market. So fixed rates are kind of rising, they're coming down, they're rising, they're very volatile right now.
Yeah.
When we see these mortgage renewals come up, what I mean, for 2026, I think there's 1.5 million. Um, and most people are going to go to that fixed rate just for security reasons. So
Yes.
anyway, there's lots of moving parts to the puzzle of real estate today.
Oh, there is. Okay, 6 to 7, we had 52 sales. We had 47 last year, so it's up 11%. In March, we only had 45,
Yep.
but we have 141 actives.
Right. So as we can see as we start, we can see where the most activity is, and we can see where the limited amount of inventory is, and it's still 60% is not selling. But as we progress down, those numbers just get larger and larger,
Well,
right?
yeah, and if you look at the percentage not selling, it goes, 60%, then 63, 74, 77, 93, 95. It just
Right.
grows and grows as the price goes up.
Right. So where we're seeing the lift, what I believe where we're seeing the lift for April is again fueled by the lower price points.
Well, yeah, because so 5 to 6 was 44% up, 6 to 7 was 11% up, 7 to 8, we had 41 sales this year, 38 last year, only 27 in March,
Mhm.
and we still have 157 actives in that category, though. So the increase was 8%. It's also our highest inventory levels of all the price ranges.
And it's been that way consistently for months.
Yeah.
Very competitive range. And then when we look at the numbers, I'm going to touch back on here. So 37% selling in the 6 to 7 range, 63% are not selling, right?
Hmm.
26% selling and 74% not selling. That's a
Hmm.
big number. So, what advice would I give to a seller today if they're in the 74% is you have to reevaluate why it's not selling.
Yes.
Have to go back to ground zero, whether you call someone else in or you just look at listings and educate yourself. You've got a right step already by looking at these numbers. We're already helping educating you as to why, if you're in that 74%, why isn't it selling? And that's
Okay, and another thing I suggest, Mark? I'm going to stop the share for a second. Don't look at realtor.ca and look at what's actually listed in your category. See what's actually sold. Because looking at realtor.ca is not, they haven't sold at that price. Just because they're listed at 750 doesn't mean they're selling at 750. So I've been just looking at what's actually sold. What was the sold price, not the list price.
go to House Stigma and start getting yourself educated. That's what they
Yeah.
need to do.
Yeah, because a lot of people will look at what's listed, Mark, a realtor, and say, well, they're listed at 750, so mine's better than theirs, so it should be 775. I don't care what they're listed at. I want to know what the comparables are sold at. Like, what are people actually getting?
Those look at the numbers, right? It's a very number driven business that we are in. What's selling, what's not selling. And I've had some meetings on the weekend about with some people about giving valuations, and I'm giving valuations, and sometimes I can't find comparables on it, or I found a comparable, but it's a year old. So I'm taking in the fact that the market has moved down 5% in prices from 5 to 6. I gave 5%. So a property that sold for X amount of dollars, we'll call it apples to apples. There may not be getting the 500 or 550. You maybe have to be that new 550. I kind of take 5% down. This is the spot where you're going to have to be. I'm positioning a seller to sell. I don't position a seller to sit on the market. There's a big difference in that. I'm not an
Well,
agent that does that.
and there's people that aren't happy with what you're telling them too.
That's okay though. But I'm totally okay with that because I'm going into that meeting with confidence. I'm going into that meeting with numbers. And of course, some will, and trust me, most will, but some won't like that number. Then my suggestion is, and I always tell them if we have a, if we've hit it off on every level except price, then please go sign a 60-day listing with someone else at your price and try for 60 days. And if you're not successful, give me a shot then.
Yeah.
That's pretty fair. Especially if I've given all the data, explained everything, and they still want to try. This is not a wait and see, try optimism market yet. We're not there. And
No.
and sellers can't be greedy today. They can't be, right?
Well,
So
and we were talking about that this morning too, is it's their level of motivation. Some people are like, yeah, I want to sell. I don't have to.
then don't try it. This isn't it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm at too.
Point to the
That if you,
numbers.
yeah, if you don't really care if you sell or not, and you're listing it at a price that you want just because you want it, it's not going to happen.
It's just not. And I'd be no different. I'd want the most that I can get from it. But if the market isn't giving me the most that I can get, then I either have a choice, either sell or I don't sell. But I wouldn't try to sell and say, hopefully somebody comes in, right? I'm going to go off topic a bit, but I had a call last year. We talked about this morning where I saw a past client listed with somebody else. And this is last year. The email came through and going, yeah, our listing's expiring. That was an invitation for me to go get all excited, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Replies, you go, oh, great, call Mark. So after I looked all the history and then I emailed back saying, you know what? I know why you didn't sell because your price was so far off the market where the market was when I sold a similar property 2 years prior to that for 1.2. The email you get back was, no, you know what? We're not dropping a bit. Okay, then carry on. They never relisted. They relisted with another agent, and they listed for 1.1 and change, and they got 1.1. But last year, their 1.4 was in their mind. We're not taking a penny less.
yeah. Whoa.
So some motivation changed, right? They didn't listen to the first agent who was in there, didn't listen to me, and I wasn't going to the kitchen table to give a spiel on it. Then you're never going to sell at your price point if you're not willing to play in the sandbox of what this market is.
Yeah.
So see, they've had several months, probably 6, 7 months off the market. Maybe something's changed. Something changed, motivated them to change, right?
Well, this is it. When you're going from 1.4 to 1.1 and change, something changed.
Something changed. Something changed. And this isn't a fun market. You know it and I know it. And it's very price motivated in a sense for buyers, right? They're
Well, I was going to say, you know what, Mark? I'm going to be honest. For buying, it's fun.
Yeah, that's. I like both. I like doing both. Long as I like both ends of it. Selling's more challenging, but I like that because there's there's a lot more interaction with the clients. There's a lot more involved in it and keeping them up to date with what's going on in the market, price change, what's selling, what's new in the market. Do we need to adjust? Are we the best price? Why aren't we getting showings? Like there's just so many pieces to this puzzle. And I like working with people that want to sell. I don't particularly like working with people that are saying, well, if I get my money, I'll sell. I can't sell your property. I can't create a market for something like that. I
No, I
just,
know.
so,
Well, and you know what? I even said to my one client, at the end of the day, it's our job to sell your house, right? And I want to do a good job. I don't do this to do a crappy job. You want to be successful and sell somebody's house because that's what you're being paid to do. So, you want to do it. It's not a matter of giving it away or not getting them the most value. We all want to get as much as we can for their houses. Well, I won't say all, but most. We want to do a good job. Nobody wants to do a shitty job.
I,
So, if you don't have the tools and the ability to drop prices or do what you have to do, your hands are tied and you can't do a good job. And it's frustrating.
yeah, well, for sure it is. And I just think our job is more in this changing market and shifting market. It's just not about, it's about communicating and understanding the data is what it is. And making your clients kind of understanding what we're seeing and backing it all up. So that's where it has to start. And if they're not buying into that, then you don't have a chance in hell selling your house. I'm
No,
sorry, you don't.
no, exactly. I've shown data and talked, and they don't buy in. Well,
And
I don't think, okay, well, that's the thing, right? That's what I mean. They have to trust you, and you like I said, we're all trying to do a good job. You want to get a house and sell it in 30 days or whatever. You don't want it sitting there and like it kind of looks like you're not doing your job correctly, right?
you're mispricing the property, and it's even more frustrating. Well, let's go back and then we'll go back to this lead in because I'd rather go through some numbers again, then we'll kind of go off screen and talk to
Okay.
some. I got to follow up to that question.
Okay. So 8 to 9, we're at 22 sales. We had 19 last month,
18? Okay. Oh, 19, sorry.
19, and then we had 18 in March.
Okay.
So it went up 16%,
Okay.
23% selling, 77% not selling.
Yeah. Those are concerning. And you can see, like, not they're not great numbers by far. A little
Well,
bit
we have
lower.
94 actives. I don't know if I said that. We had 94 actives, which is still a pretty decent amount.
It is a large amount, right? It is a large amount of inventory, right? And it's competitive range. I mean, the hardest range to sell in right now is a lower range, 7, 8 right now. In a sense,
It is.
right?
It is. But in the 8 to 9, we still have 23% selling, 77 not selling. Like I said, as the price goes up, the percentage of not selling also goes up.
100%, 100%. And we do have some inventory, and I think we're not done listing yet. You're gonna see a lot more properties come available in the next few weeks. We're gonna see
Okay.
it.
So these next two, Mark, are alarming to me.
Yeah.
Okay. 9 to 1 million, 5 sales this year, 19 last year, 7 in March.
Mhm. Yeah.
7% selling, 93% not selling. And remember, you actually made me go back and check this because you thought I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because last year there was 19 in this price range. Now there's only 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And without getting into too much detail about, again, we affordability erodes with the higher price point. To a lot of people are, you know, not wanting to possibly trade up in a sense because they're unsure about the economy and unsure about their positions in their employers, taking on additional mortgage debt, right? Like there's so many pieces to this puzzle, right?
Well,
Like
we also have 69 actives where I think historically we usually have a little bit more in that range. Like I'm starting to wonder if the 9 to 1 million and the over 1 million, we just don't have as many actives. Like we're down to 99 over 1 million.
people have taken some, they haven't sold, folks, so let's clear that one up. But people will become frustrated. It's normal, right? They will become frustrated with that and they go, you know what? We're not going to be successful in selling in this range because we're not willing to sell at that price. Make a decision. And some people in those ranges have
Yeah, they just took them off, I think.
like taken them off, right? But then we still see lots, and one always sticks out on my head all the time. I think they've been trying for 2 years. It's on McIntyre Street, Art of Bluffs. They've been trying for years now.
Yeah.
No luck. Price.
Yeah.
Right. So
So
it's
7% selling, 93% not selling. And in that price range, it dropped 74%. That was the biggest. Every other price range were actually up because sales were up, right?
all right.
But in the 9 to 1 million and the over 1 million, 9 to 1 million, we dropped 74%. Over 1 million, we dropped 54%. And over 1 million, same. 5 sales, 11 last year, only six in March.
Mhm.
5% selling, 95% not selling, and there is 99 actives in that.
Right. So, do I think some people, in these lower ranges trading up? Yeah, I do, but I think they've been there for some time. They built up equity over some years. You know, it's that
Yes.
well over 5 years being at the home. Got some good equity positions now, some even 10. Now is the time. Yeah, it makes sense. Dual incomes, everything's good. Sure. But I wonder how many people in some of these, the 6 7 range that want to trade up but haven't been successful at selling. Maybe they're
Yes.
in that 63% category of not selling. It's either one, it's one thing, it's price.
Yeah.
Unless there's
And
something
there's a
really
ton in that lower category in the 7 to 8 and 6 to 7. That's huge numbers.
a lot of inventory
Yeah.
to the categories. So, and will I say that, with that new, with no HST impacting the resale market? No, but I think it's to a small degree I do, but nothing
It's
huge.
not making a major impact.
Some people like new and some people want that, and there's some good value in buying new and peace of mind, whatever, but it's not everybody too. It's
Well,
just
there's only a certain amount of those available, so there's limited inventory in that. And not only that, it's only for 1 year.
over 1 year. Yeah, it's a tough one, right? It's a hard one, and we're not seeing builders race back to the market to start,
No.
getting up. But at the year end here, when we look at, so we put year end numbers here, 24% of the inventory is selling, 76% is not. So we combine those all. So,
So in
really,
freeholds, we have 627 actives, 152 sales. So 24% selling. This is overall, all the price ranges. 76% is not.
right. I want to see something. 152.
But you know what's also like kind of misleading about that? 76% is not, but Mark in the higher ranges, 95% is not.
I know we just took it a step further by showing this, you know what I mean? Of course, these numbers really inflated that. But when we look right now, we got like 4 months of supply in the market based on this 152 number for April. That's a lot
Yes.
of supply, right? If
Well,
if we
in
break it
some
down in
markets,
here, next stats we should do is we'll break it down by months of supply on this column here, right?
yeah.
Because it's easy to figure out. Right? It's easy. So that's you just this is such a numbers game today, and it's unfortunate. So let's go back to one of the stories that I wanted to talk about when um, we kind of
We
cut it off.
started, yeah.
I showed a property this week that someone purchased it back in 2024, and of course, what the market has gone down in pricing by 10%. And if
Hmm.
one of the appraisal left a comment on my channel saying, "Yeah, you know what? 10% is exactly what they're seeing." Great, I was good to know. So, but the price is inflated. So they're asking a price of 1,145,000, and they paid 1,350,000 for this property. So the agent called me, which I knew he'd call me after the showing or the next day, I believe. And my client does have some interest in the property, but the valuation's wrong. So I don't, you know what I mean? Right now, we're in I call it the denial stage. We have an agent that's trying to say there's great value in that. It's a custom home and it's this and it's this and it's this and it's this. And then I go, well, there's only really it's 3 bedroom, but it's 2 bedroom because the other one can't fit a double bed in hardly no closet. So it's probably as an office. And the increase in valuation, the market's down 10%. And his response was, the agent, the buyer, if they're going to be there 10 years, the house is going to double. You know that. And and he goes, no one likes taking a loss. So he's saying my seller's not willing to take a loss.
Yeah.
So that means the seller's in denial, and so is the agent in denial, and the agent thinks I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Telling me the market's really picking up a lot. And then I
Oh,
start throwing numbers at him from what I have, going, well, really, this range, this is much as selling. You're telling me that it's hot right now.
yeah.
So it's you can't, and my client wants to go in and put an offer in, and I'm going, we're gonna lose. I'll put it in, no problem. I'll follow all your instructions, not a problem. But I'll tell you, we will not be successful.
You need to be in the 1 2s.
We need to be the one too. And then I thought about something today, and I said, okay. How do I get that seller down?
Hmm.
Say we agree. I'm just going to make this up. Okay.
Okay.
We agreed at 1.4. Okay. Seller's just grooving it. So ecstatic. But here's the difference. In that Schedule A, I'm going to put that this offer is conditional on appraisal within banking days. So I'm going to make it, I will spend the 400 bucks or 500 bucks and bring an appraisal out. We know what the
Okay.
appraisal is going to be.
Yeah, well, no, I was going to say to you, you could put an appraisal, you could do an appraisal clause. You could.
And I'd share the report. Here you
Yeah.
go. Here you go. And this is good for two ways. So if we have sellers that say, maybe don't believe me or don't believe the numbers, hire an appraiser. It's
Yeah.
great. Hire someone. And they're very, you're gonna, they're dead on the money. That's not an easy designation to get. There's lots of schooling behind it, everything. So that's the true value,
Hmm.
right? So that could, if someone thinks their house is worth that much more, go get an appraisal then. Go
Yeah.
but get an appraisal. I thought, well, would that work? Maybe,
Well,
maybe.
financing
Maybe.
and the appraise, you could do it on financing with the appraisal in that same clause. Because then if the appraisal comes in way below, she would have to put in more money, which you can say she doesn't have.
I do one thing. I wouldn't even put a financing in there. I just put appraisal because I already know the appraisal is not going to work anyway, right? And then I would say, and I would in writing the schedule, I would say that we will pass this report on to you, right?
Mhm.
How would that be perceived by a selling agent?
I think they think that you were paying off the appraisal person and you knew them.
Well, probably that's that we have to include that. That's probably yes, that's probably one of the things.
Yeah.
But I could say they could pick the appraisal. No, these guys are professionals. You know what I mean? They're professionals. It's not someone I know, and they have
Oh,
all.
they can lose their designation.
I mean, it's not going to be. It would be a professional company with a professional appraiser
Well,
doing it.
that's why I was thinking if you did it for finance and you did it through and they were getting financed through RBC, it could be the RBC appraisal.
Yeah, but remember, this is within 5 days. This is not carrying on after we waive finance. I want this condition for 5 banking days.
I know, but some banks come in right away. If it's
Some.
tight, they do.
Yeah, I would bank and I'd rather pay for it because I know it's getting done, right?
Yeah.
I would go that route. It's worth the spend. You have to do it because a lot of these come in later on. It's no good coming on. If I really wanted to make it, so that was one thing I thought about. But I still think we're still in the denial stage too early. I think that property will have to sit for another 60 days before we see some adjustments, then kind of go in a little bit.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's a good point for people that, you know what I mean, in that higher within we've seen 75% basically isn't selling in the community. If they don't believe an agent, get an appraisal.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good idea.
It is a good idea. Another point that came up this week with a friend um, about home inspections. So as we know, in the lower ranges, we're seeing a lot of activity, and that's mainly fueled by first-time buyers coming back to the marketplace.
Hmm.
Have a good entry point due to affordability now, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Prices have come down. But that demographic's also very cautious, is very well coerced in a sense. There's lots of moving parts, meaning family members maybe gifting the money, mom and dad gifting the money, or
They
and
bring the whole family to the home inspection, and the mom doesn't like that the screen door is broken.
house is garbage, deal's gone. Right?
I've
That's what
had that
happens.
happen, actually, the screen.
Right. So when doing that, have your representative, your selling agent, when you accept an offer, saying, okay, the only ones that are permitted to attend the home inspection are the buyers listed on this APS and the home inspector. Done. No family members, no outside sources, no contractors, no nothing. I'd be putting that in today. If I was listing lower price point properties, I would.
Yeah.
I would, because that's what happens a lot. Again, there's more to the story, but I don't want to go onto it too much. But it was very silly how this deal didn't come about. It
Yeah,
was very
the things that they walked away for the inspection were minimal.
nothing. Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
So influence came in from the Aunt Jenny's and the uncles and everybody's a real estate agent, everybody's a contractor now, everybody's a home builder now, everybody. So I could see that, if there's something major, 100% walk away. But something very small, no. And really, do you want that many people through your home? I wouldn't want that in my house.
No, I had an issue one time with a
Those are
fan
for
like
walkthroughs. Bring the
well, they
family for a
brought
walk.
they brought kid yeah, and they brought a bunch of kids and stuff, which I have no issue with children. I've brought my own grandchildren to showings and home inspections and when I had to. But they were very well behaved, and I didn't let them touch the toys in the house. And I had a client where every time the people that bought it did a walkthrough or the home inspection, like their house was trashed. Their TV things were changed, all their settings on their TV, and they had a child with toys, and I guess the buyers had children, and the children ran around. There was toys everywhere, like every time.
Well, it can happen. Walkthroughs are for walkthroughs. Home inspections are to go through the home in detail, and they're 3 to 4 hours times five.
Yeah.
Don't bring family members. Don't bring partners or whatever. Bring the people who are on the agreement of purchase and sale. That's it. Cut it off. You don't want that many people. You don't want any other negative influences in there.
Well, the one thing I will say though, if I know there's a problem, I have got a contractor to stop in and check it. Like say I knew the roof was bad, or I knew that okay, this bathroom needs a total gut. I've had a plumber show up at the home inspection just to give us a quote. Okay, how much would it be to fix
Something like
that?
that. So maybe, but then the buyer could write that, say, hey, we want someone else to come, a specialist to come in and look at the HVAC or look at the plumbing or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we already knew it's a problem though. So when we negotiated the price, I wasn't trying to get money off the price because we already knew it was a problem.
Right. So anyway, I think we're getting down to the
Yeah, where we've
here. So
eaten up our time.
yeah, so positive news, slight optimism for April. Just don't let it go to your heads.
Exactly.
Okay.
See ya.